the commercial break, I play something else by them that I like. Our guest here this morning, just a kid born in 1987. Jeez. 1987. You were already in your 50s. I retired once. I came back.
No, I was 31, half my life ago.
So this gentleman, Canadian philanthropist, entrepreneur, and a broadcaster, I mentioned he won a bunch of really prestigious awards. He's been active in the world for a long time. He's spoken, he's produced, he's written, he's worked. He it's a lot, isn't it?
It is.
Hold on, let me get his microphone on. That's a lot of stuff you've done.
Yes.
He is here to talk about something called Skate to Great, but first let's meet and say hello to Evan Kozner. Is that close?
Thank you.
Am I close, Kozner?
Yes, Kozner, you got it.
What, age 13, you kind of roll out of the world and go, hey, I got to do something.
Exactly, and you got to. I started wanting to be on TV and going from one thing to another. Ended up on radio and television at Ryerson, sort of similar format to where we are, but not as funny over there. And just kept on going at it, starting different ventures. And funny enough, a couple of years ago, decided to start Skate to Great, which is a charity all across Canada for kids to go skating, who otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity. And it's taken off.
You were friends with Drake, too?
We went to middle school and high school together. He still owes me $10 of lunch money, but we will not hold that against him.
Because Drake grew up in Forest Hill, where you did,
correct.
And were you guys? Would he take your call right now? Would he be like, "Hey, Evan"?
I don't know if that's the case. Although I see him from time to time. I saw him at his OVO after party. Helped him with some of the production stuff for that, but. Definitely, a good Jewish boy from the neighborhood, and I know the bottom is actually the basement house where he lived. I remember he got kicked out of the school play in 8th grade as well.
So the point being, you haven't worked with him and collaborated or entrepreneured with him.
It's been about 2 years since I've seen him last.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
So when he says I started from the bottom, now I'm here, the joke always is the bottom of Forest Hill isn't quite the bottom.
Correct. He grew up in over by Weston Road.
Which is a sketchy neighborhood.
Which is a little bit. And then I know I believe his family rented a basement sort of apartment in Forest Hill. But there's actually a funny video that if you dig it up, it's called Us Versus Them on YouTube. And I think he was going to be working at the TD, if I'm not mistaken, or the local bank right by in Forest Hill Village, and then Lil Wayne called him, and the funniest thing was when I was working on that movie, the same thing happened to me. Like we ended up doing
what movie are you talking about?
There's this. There's only so much I can say because of non-disclosure agreements, but ended up going over to Houston and meeting with James and Jazz Prince. It was like one night I got the call and I had to be there by 10 o'clock the next morning. There was certain rappers who were in town and they needed to get the production going. So on American Airlines on the Wi-Fi, I was busy communicating with the production team that we had over there and just lining things up ready to go.
Because you were producing a movie for
essentially it was Drake was an executive producer of this concert, and his management team with James and Jazz Prince acquired the rights to it.
And your production company went over and shot it. Is that what I'm to understand?
What ended up happening was it was supposed to be an album. It was supposed to be his first live Toronto concert as an album.
This is Drake.
This is Drake. And then it ended up turning into a whole thing where it was going to be, there was 3 cameras. It's when Drake's starting out at Sound Academy. Like, for reference, you typically have 17 or 20 cameras.
For a concert
for a regular concert. Yeah. When you're Drake and you're starting out, you've got one main shot, one side shot, and one guy who's just wobbly on
Well, that's like us here on Twitch. Yeah, exactly. We got 3 cameras and no Drake.
And that was the production kind of quality that I had to deal with at the time.
Yeah,
so.
and these 3 cameras, I don't think together are worth $100, are they?
Are they? But they're good.
They're good.
They're good. Mm-hmm. Well, Evan, This is interesting to speak with you. And you've been volunteering. The Governor General's Sovereign Medal for Volunteers is you You can't get that. You can't send away for it. You got to give it. Someone gives it to you.
And everyone thinks I'm a war veteran when I wear it, which is just brutal. Like, you go anywhere, like to a black tie event, and they say, "Oh, well, thank you for your service," and it doesn't feel like it going around talking about kids skating.
Well, how does someone your age get in that position? Like, you're young for something like that.
Well, I think there's been a number of different being. Charitable and assisting different charities has been sort of a core value. Growing up again in Forest Hill,
you grew up affluent family and.
Yeah, I guess one could say that.
Well, let's
be humble, but essentially, yeah, I had the opportunity to go skating. Skating at Forest Hill Arena is a thing,
right?
A memorial arena there, and it's one of those things that every kid should have that opportunity. And I don't think there's anything more Canadian, and that's one of the things that I've enjoyed doing. I've volunteered with a number of different organizations, but it's something as simple as donating your old skates, which everyone's got in their basement, especially if an asteroid's coming, right?
Asteroids
That's
are on their way.
They're on their way.
Let's make sure everyone gets a good skate in before the end of the world.
And with all the flooding that's recently happened as well, not to bring things down, but and the cold
like
weather,
that.
it's going to be ponds again.
So it's going to be good, and everything will freeze over. We can skate everywhere.
Yes.
Let me ask you this just before we move on, because it came to mind because I've often thought about this. Like, members of the Toronto Maple Leafs, they'll go through 6-7 pairs of skates a season, probably more.
Correct.
Do you ever talk to them about I've often thought, what happens to the skates that the players no longer? They're probably still in pristine condition.
So they actually get a budget for all of the skates that they need, usually as like an endorsement kind of deal, that we're going to get the skates from whomever, and that's what happens. We've actually come up with a sort of weird plan that you can donate we can partner with them. They donate them to us, and we actually can give them a tax credit for the value of the gifted items that they now possess.
Because they need it.
So they can get that, but then we get the new equipment, and they often are able to help out with signature, like autograph it and stuff like that.
Excellent.
That provides
now,
value.
listen, I'm about to pay my taxes today. I got about $3,000 that I owe. If I donate, I got an old pair of skates and the dog.
Yes, the dog is Stanley.
Stanley. Is there any way? Listen, I want to talk about Skate to Great. It's been around for a while. It's not a. But so, why are you? How long has it been around, and why are you here today to tell us about it?
Okay, so technically, it's always been grassroots. There's a lot of charities, and bless them for doing what they do, but like what you see is what you get. It's volunteers. There's no one on staff. We have the occasional contractor when things get busy, but generally speaking, it's a grassroots operation. It started back in 2011, where I had this idea and brought a bunch of people together to go to Toronto City Hall and let's collect a whole bunch of skates. I called them up saying, "Hey, can we go?" It was right before the end of the skating season. Can we collect them on this day? And they said, "It was this year or 2 years from now. We're starting to book 2 years out. It's not going to happen." So it was like it was a miracle to pull the thing off. And of course, we had a ton of media there, and nobody showed up. I'm like, this is probably the worst idea I ever had. But in the weeks that followed at the different donation locations, hundreds of skates started pouring in. And that's when I sort of realized, maybe we're on to something here. So registered it as a charity. We've had great supporters who've provided in-kind stuff, from legal services over at Siskins in London to FedEx, who's taken a chance.
FedEx is one of your big sponsors.
They're fantastic, just in the fact that there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are FedEx has been going all in, and their staff is just wonderful across the country, and they get their employees to volunteer with us as well. So we're collecting skates. So the reason we're here and right now is Stars on Ice is going across Canada. And we struck a deal that we're collecting skates before every Stars on Ice show, which is a perfect demographic at all the major stadiums that they're touring at. And from there, we're also collecting at a local FedEx until May 31st. And if people are driving around, don't text and drive, but when you get to work or whatever, if you text SKATE to 393939.
Hold on. 393939.
And you text SKATE, you'll get a text message back with the link to skatetoGreat.org. And it'll give you all the information you need.
So since 2011, you've obviously collected a lot of skates. How do kids and people that want and need these skates, how do they access it?
Fantastic. So we actually work with community programs, schools, and different charities. So, for instance, in Toronto, Big Brothers Big Sisters, every kid who's wanted skates, we've gotten, and then we've also upgraded them because kids' shoe sizes grow. And a lot of the problem that we identified is you get them once, but like 3 months later, you're back to your shoes on the ice,
as
right?
every parent knows.
So that's a big thing to create sustainable banks, and that's why we have so much fun doing it.
And you know, it is a great idea because I probably got 3 or 4 pairs in my basement. It's the type of thing the kids outgrow them.
Correct.
And you look at them and you think, boy, they've hardly been used, but they're not the type of thing you want to throw out, like just throw in the garbage around. You hang them around. They hang around in case somebody can use them, and this is a great way to have them used.
Correct.
Text 393939. You'll get information.
With the word skate, you got to put skate in
text
there.
skate.
Yeah, otherwise, who knows what you
Yeah,
got.
you don't know. Text skate to that.
So is it-
393939.
Is there somewhere in Brampton where I could like get the FedEx?
Yeah,
thing?
so if you end up going to skatetogreat.org, there's actually a donation map all across the country. So, and the funniest thing that I've found is that you don't know who's hoarding skates in their basement. There've been
Everybody.
like
Yeah,
well,
everyone.
in Oakville. They have like a collection once a year, and they always have hundreds of extra pairs of skates. So we got like 800 pairs of skates one year from them. There was a thrift store that somehow accumulated them from a couple other stores, didn't have room. Another 800 pairs in Hamilton, actually.
Speaking
So-
of numbers, do you have any idea, rounds about since 2011, how many you guys have collected?
on average, like the earlier years were a little different than now, and it fluctuates. But we're thinking about 40,000 pairs of skates
Amazing.
across Canada. Yeah,
You know, it's funny. You know, the refugee situation in Canada. The people come and they don't have a lot. And I saw some video from like on the Rideau there in Ottawa. A lot of the refugee kids being introduced to skating. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Well, we've helped kids who
Yeah.
are visually impaired.
Yeah.
There's kids who've come to Canada when there's a lot of Syrian refugees, and
Yeah.
2 weeks later they're on the ice
they're
for the
on
first
skates.
time.
Yeah.
And, like, we're talking about it here, but it's a whole different thing to see the kids skating for the first time and trying them on and being with their friends. That's what's great.
And you know what? To your point about skating outdoors for the first time is pretty magical. Like, because where I grew up in Saskatchewan, I could skate on the street to the outdoor rink that was near my house, but being out on a river or out on a lake is something else. Especially, there's just a nice piece of Canadiana. The organization is called Skate to Great. Evan Koziner.
Yeah.
How wonderful for you. So this is your charity. And what are you producing these days? I know you brought HuffPost to television. What's your other gigs?
Right now I'm trying to relax and just actually take it easy. I ended up exiting a company
you are 32.
earlier this year.
Yeah, you really. It's been a long.
I know it's been a long.
tough
It's a long.
run
It has
since '87.
I graduated with my master's degree from Queens last year,
Nice.
so trying to go on tour. It's nuts going city to city, but so much fun and very rewarding. But I got a couple startups in the works.
So Skate to Great is that's what you're working on now. You're publicizing it. You want everyone to know that now's a good time, especially as as fall approaches. It's time to start thinking skating again.
And
this is the weather we're having.
And spring cleaning as well. Like everyone should be spring cleaning at this point, but it's not quite happening.
But we're putting on our Halloween decorations. Is the joke we're doing here this morning.
Oh, they're really going. I was in Ottawa at the Scotiabank Arena or Center there with Skate to Great, and there was Halloween posters. Funny enough, at the costume stores.
Haven't taken it down yet.
Yeah, they
text skate to 393939. And what a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I was going to
for
say
having
young
me.
man, but that's not quite right.
And the collection continues till May 31st. So we're at Stars in Toronto on Friday and Hamilton on Saturday.
Now, you've come in here and you did great, I think. Is there any way, because I know you must have a massive social presence, can you just send a little shout out
I would be happy to.
for the people, Humble and Fred? What?
No, I thought you were going to ask for a pair of skates. I'm glad you asked. Yeah.
We'll go skating one.
What is wrong with you?
Oh, I thought you were saying, okay. I just thought you were going to ask for a pair of skates there. But the
Do you happen to have a pair of skates?
Probably take a while.
I have skates. I have roller skates I haven't used in years, and I still have Charlie and Spencer, my daughter. I still have
same
their
here. I do
have
too.
their figure skates downstairs.
Got to donate them.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And and a lot of us are like that. as you say, everyone's got a couple of pairs. If you think about it, this is a great organization.
Thank you.
And just give us a little share.
We
and,
will.
just
You'll
do
be
us.
on within
Please.
the hour. You'll be on the
You're a
Skate
nice
to Great
man.
channel. Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank
Don't,
you.
buddy.
Thank
Watch
you.
out. Don't walk
you.
away with the headphones.
I'll try not to.
Don't walk away. We have a very tight budget. All right. I'll bet you I could go downstairs and I would have at least 4 pairs.
Oh yeah, same here. I got a couple in the garage, a couple downstairs, and you look at them all the time, and you think, "Oh, somebody can use those."
Yeah.
And you never get around to it. So
Did I ever ask you about this? Did you ever do that thing? I don't even know. Our skates, they're not made with, they're not leather anymore, are they? Or are they still a combination?
I don't know. A good question. I would imagine basically yes.
Still?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that? I think we talked about this somehow recently, where I was always heard you're supposed to wear your skates in the bathtub to get them to adhere to your foot.
Yeah, not anymore though.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
But I remember guys didn't wear the cool guys didn't wear socks in their skates.
Well, Bobby Orr, right?
Yeah.
He was the trendsetter that way.
Yeah.